Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu jami'an. Tonight I want to talk about some peoples that guys like. I see there's a lot of black people. They like Kevin Samuels and they like Umar Johnson. And I want to talk about there's something about their message that they are missing. And this is really for a lot of our black American Muslim community that I noticed a lot of us we do give these guys our ear and we listen to them and how they deal with some of the social issues in the black community pertaining to relationships, pertaining to blacks becoming organized and getting themselves together to handle their business. Well, looking at their message, you know, a lot of things about their message that talks about moral or morality between black peoples and addressing some of the issues that's going on in the black community that's dealing with especially relationships and relationship problems, especially when they talk about Kevin Samuels, who targets black women and dealing with their relationship issues, meaning how they go into their relationships with dysfunctional or not dysfunctional, but with delusions, and he's giving them some reality. With people like an individual like Umar Johnson, who's speaking more on a Pan-African message, uniting black people based on their color and addressing their issue that pertaining to what blacks are subjected to in the United States from systemic racism and how to fight against systemic racism and how to blacks to get themselves together to better themselves, right? So when you look at people like Kevin Samuels and individuals like Umar Johnson, who are the majority of their followers who are listening to them are black, there's something missing from their message, you know. And the thing that is missing from their message is Islam. Islam is the thing that's missing from their message. Um, you know, Kevin Samuels on his end when he speaks about the dysfunction from women, and this is a reality. This is something that is a reality when he speaks about the dysfunction of women in the black community. You know, and he gives them some solutions in their thinking. Some of his solutions that he gives them, meaning being rational thinkers and not selling themselves short and looking at value themselves according to the reality, right? That particular thinking or that particular understanding, it's kind of understood in Islam, right? But in a different way, right? In a different way. Related to Umar Johnson and his message to Pan-Africanism or Pan-African or black people uniting based on race to deal with systemic racism. And for Umar Johnson, he deals a lot with some of the social problems in the United States amongst blacks due to the government that is racist and the reality of living under a racist government, how it impacts blacks in America financially, physically, and mentally, how it affects them, right? And he's dealing with that issue, right? And within his message, there's some truth in his message. And within some of his message, there's some falsehood in his message, right? And likewise with Kevin Samuels, right? I listen to them a lot. I hear how they talk to black people about black issues going on specifically in the United States, within the black community and things like that. But for all the Muslims who like to listen to them, or black folks, in particular black American Muslims who listen to them, who talk about black people's issues and causes, there's something missing in their message. And the thing that is missing in their message is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-Islam, al-Islam. That is the thing that is missing in their message. And some would say, well, Islam is a religion that's a person's personal choice, and this is how most Westerners think. Your religion is your personal choice. This is something that is optional. Religion is optional, right? Vocational, or optional, voluntarily and optional, right? Or as a novelist, or something that should be treated as an agnostic. But in Islam, it's not that. Islam is a complete way of life. Islam is a complete way of life. So for some of those Muslims who give their ear to these individuals like Umar Johnson and Kevin Samuels, you got to turn around and look. Umar Johnson, at the end of the day, he don't like Islam. In the end of the day, even though he has a Muslim name and he's born Muslim, right? Umar Johnson, he has a Muslim name. His full name is Umar Abdullah Johnson, but he worshiped ancestors, right? He apostated from Islam. He gave his reasons. I heard many videos. He gave his reason why he has nothing to do with Islam. And some of his reasons why he's not dealing with Islam as a religion, he said he grew up as a Muslim and his father was a Sunni Muslim. Then one day Sunni, one day Shia, right? And then he's saying the Muslims in Philly, they are confused, and the black Muslim community, they're pushing the agenda of the foreigners and the immigrant that doesn't benefit black people, right? So that's his excuse for not following Islam, right? And according to also how the Arabs treated the Africans. That's very important to mention these things, right? Because that's some truth in it. The Arabs did do black Africans dirty, right? They systemically put them in slavery, right? Systemically put them in slavery, right? So there's some things about it. There's some legitimate things about his arguments that he say why he doesn't like Islam. But in the end of the day, that's not Islam what he disliked. That's Muslims and Muslims bad practicing, or Muslims doing things that it's not favored or that's not befitting Islam, right? Because I told Muslims, don't judge Islam by Muslims, judge Islam by the religion, because Muslims, if they commit sins or they go against the Quran, they're still Muslims. But if they go against the Quran, they're no longer representing Islam when they go against the Quran, right? Right. So that's for people who listen to Umar Johnson. And then Umar Johnson, in the same time, he's a great speaker. He's very educated. He's a psychologist, right? He's a therapist for kids. Excellent speaker. I benefit a lot from him. Even some concepts that he talk about pertaining to African American history, struggles, social problems, and solution. A few of them, his solutions are Islamic, right? I hear these things from some of his solutions are Islamic. Some of the struggles that he talk about, I remember growing up as a kid, going to African American cultural centers that specifically speaks about Pan-African understanding of the world and black people's struggle. I get it when he speaks. I get a lot of flashbacks when I was a kid, actually going to these type of programs and learning about Black history in America, right, and African content. I get a lot of those in my when my flashbacks come up with what things he's saying, right, and I can definitely relate to it, all right. But with Umar Johnson, at the end of the day, he's not married. Number one, he's not married. Number two, he's not Muslim. The first thing, he's not Muslim. That's number one. Turn his back on Islam. Ancestor worshiping, right? Number three, about Umar Johnson, people complain about his fundraising and he had a lot of money and he lost it, or people asking what he did with the money for his school. And sometimes when people say this about him, in Islam, when we do something collectively, we do talk about where money is going. There's nothing like that hidden in Islam, right? Even though Muslims do dirty stuff with money. But me being black and working in the black community, even in the Muslim community, black people mismanage money in the black community. Even the Islamic community, they mismanage money, or they put all the pressure on one person to take care of everything. And sometimes that one person, they put all the pressure on to take care of everything related to finance and running the community. Sometimes he might be a good speaker for Islam, but he's not the best person to do with finances, right? So Umar Johnson, his issue with the finances, I can see where people are complaining. And then next, black people don't spend on black people. I understand that perfectly. I worked in the black community. I worked in the Muslim community in an all black neighborhood, all black area. And when it comes to the immigrant Muslims, they put the money in, and I don't gotta twist their arm, don't gotta beg. But the black folks, they don't contribute to anything because either they don't have the money or they don't see it as being important, right? I can see Umar Johnson, his issues on this area, right? And some other things I've seen from him that I dislike that he should change in his character, right? Some things that are narcissistic, but talk about black people's issues, you understand, right? Kevin Samuels, I see a lot of people. He's somebody new. I see a lot of Muslims. They post his videos because he told black people, black women, what they need to hear, because black women are in delusion in this country. All right, they're very delusional. The Western society, these are First Nations, countries that are developed as First Nations. These are some of the issues that go on in these countries, right? Between women and social justice. Some of them are delusional, things like that. So these things happen in this type of environment, in this type of country. So he deal with these issues, telling women to do it for reality, right? But even in Islam, when it's coming towards women and dealing with women, even when they're delusional, and even when they have misunderstandings, there is a proper etiquette to deal with women in Islam, especially when they're delusional. Every woman you don't browbeat, you don't beat them down with words. This is part of our religion. You don't beat women or people who have issues. You don't beat them all down with words. In Islam, we have to be very wise on how we speak to people, even though we recognize as Muslims, there's some people who can't take advice softly, and there's some people have to give them advice softly, right? And that's for the wisdom of the person who's giving advice, when to be rough and when to be gentle. So Kevin Samuels, in some incidents, I find that when he's talking to black women, he's really speaking down on them, right? Even though he's telling them the truth that they need to hear, right? But you have to be compassionate when you're giving people's advice. Some ways he give advice to black women, in some cases, this is how the white man talk about black peoples. Right? This is how actually the white man, when he talks about black peoples in this type of way, when a black person goes to a white social worker for welfare, right? Family court, like that. This is how the white racist and the family court judge speaks to black women and men. This is how the judge in the court treat them. No compassion. No compassion. Right? When the judge in family court with the man about a child support and he not having finances, this is how the judge speaks to the man. This is how the white judge speaks to the woman in the court in America. No compassionate. There's no compassion. So even Kevin Samuels' approach, which some black women need to hear it that way, but it's not the approaches for every black woman, every condition. Some black women, you gotta talk to them like that, because black women are too rough in America. And then they living in the fantasy world. But there's some women I see go on his show that seem like emotionally have some issues. And some of them you need to be kind of compassionate when you deal with them. And the next thing about Kevin Samuel Mefford that I don't like, that is not from Islam, advice is private, not public. Say it again. Advice is private, not public. I say it again. Advice in Islam and our religion is in private. It's not in public, because when it comes in public and you're talking to people like that in a degrading way like that, then it might even fall under namima or ghiba. Ghiba. It might fall under ghiba, right? Ghiba, and ghiba means backbiting. And in Islam, backbiting is also when you're talking about somebody and their face, how you talk to them, right? About their reality, especially when you do it in public, right? So even Kevin Samuels' approaches to dealing with black women, when it comes to doing that in public, somebody coming to you in private about some discussion, issue, or dysfunctional thinking that she's having, that's done behind closed doors, not in public. And you don't do it to humiliate the woman, so everyone can see this woman, she's a fool. Right? It's done in what? Private. A woman have an issue like this, even if you could decide to be gentle or rough on how you tell her the truth, it should be done in what? and private, and especially women who got issues, especially it's mental health issues, financial issues, education issues. It shouldn't be the reason why you're going to speak harsh to her, right? As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about women, he said the woman is like the fragile vessel. This is the teaching of Islam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessing be upon him, said the woman, she's like the fragile vessel. Meaning, if you treat her rough, speak rough, she's gonna break. She's gonna break. So there's a time to be rough, and there's the time to be soft. Especially with a woman, the person giving her advice is not a family member, right? It's different. It's her father tell her like that in a harsh way. That's the father. He can speak like that. He decided to talk to her in a soft way. That's on the father. So even what Kevin Samuel is doing, just about it being in public, being publicized in the public for the world to see, right? This is wrong Islamically to even give people advice this way. And that's for all the Muslims who like listening to Umar Johnson and Kevin Samuel. All right? Umar Johnson and Kevin Samuel. Right? And at the end of the day, they're not Muslim. All right? They're not Muslim. All right? I seen the other day somebody show Umar Johnson. He's one of his talks. He's in the casino gambling. Talking about he's gambling for his to get his money to build his school. He's gambling the money that he's asking donations for. He's gambling. And that giving him a bad image. The people who say, hey, you're asking for donations and you're gambling in the casino. Talk about you trying to make money for your school, and at the same time you asking for a donation and you on the gambling machine. You the one who's calling people, you the caller to your call, and you involved in gambling. Doesn't look right as a leader doing. You know, somebody who running the streets and stupid, you don't have no sense. We can understand people like this doing it, but somebody who's a leader doing it, and at the same time asking for donations, it is not a good look for you, your character, and your cause, right? In Islam, we don't do this. Muslims, we don't gamble, especially the Muslim leader. The Muslim leader in the community, he's not the one falling to what everybody else in the community is doing. You understand? He's the leader. He's what the qudwa, we call in Arabic language. He's the qudwa. He is the model. He is the example to be followed. So the leader, he shouldn't be gambling, right? It's not a good look for the leader, right? So for all the Muslims, African American Muslims who give their ear and their time listening to Umar Johnson and Kevin Samuel, at the end of the day, their message is not the message of Islam. It's not the message of Islam, all right? It's not the message of Islam. And even Kevin Samuels, I listened to him yesterday, right? And I like the way he speaks sometimes. He make the women think. But in the same interview, he had two women, right? Two women came on his show. One was pretty, Latino, right? And the other one was black on the same interview in the same show. I don't know the date of the show, right? And the Latino came in. She's very pretty. And she said that she was a virgin for many years. And she lost her virginity to this guy. Right? She'd been dating this guy for 2 years. And she lost her virginity to him. And now they're thinking about getting engaged and married. So Kevin Samuels said the rightful thing to her. He said to her that, hey, you, why did you give your virginity to this guy who has no commitment to you? Meaning that he's not legally married to you. Right? You gave him your virginity. And you're not married to this man. And the girl said, yeah, out of love. He said, out of love? He said, no, man. You just gave your virginity to some guy. He has made no commitment and he's not married to you. Right? Then he turned around. You should got married. Then lost your virginity to your husband, somebody who was committed to you. And this is what the man said. I agree with him 100%. Then the next clipping he's showing on the same show, an older woman come up to him, right? An older black woman, all right? And she said that she's been dating for a while. She has some kids with a man she's not married to. And she says she no longer wants to get in a relationship with a man that she's not going to give her, she's not going to have sex with him until she's married, find a man committed. Kevin Samuels, well, he just told the girl who was a virgin, lost her virginity, that, hey, you should have got married and lost your virginity to your husband. Now the other woman, the same show, come in and said, well, she's not going to have any sex with any man until she get married. Kevin Samuel told to her, why? What for? You're not a virgin no more. Why a man should wait to have sex with you? That's what he's telling her. So he's contradicting himself. And Islamically, his advice is wrong. He told the first woman who was a virgin, then lost her virginity to somebody she's not married to. He told her, hey, you should get married and lost your virginity to your husband. Now the second woman come along and says, oh, well, she's an older woman who got kids, and she's not going to have sex with somebody until they marry her. And he says to her, no, you're wrong. Why you're an older woman, you've been having sex already. Why are you going to hold your virginity? You ain't no virgin woman. Why are you going to wait till a guy get married and they have sex? He's like, this is wrong. You're not that worth. That, hey, man, you just contradicted yourself. Like I said, you contradicted yourself. I'll put the video right here. I will add the video in the comment. Islamically, his advice is not sound. It's very contradictive. At the end of the day, their message is missing al-Islam, the moral system. So all the Muslims who listen to them, in the end of the day, you're listening to somebody whose guidance is other than the guidance of Islam at the end of the day. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah, he's saying you old. Nobody wants you no more, so why are you going to hold your virginity? And nobody wants you. That's his point. But the woman before him, he told her, oh, why you lose your virginity to somebody you're not married to? This is not sound advice. Hey, you're contradicting yourself. Yeah, you tell the first woman, you lose your virginity to your husband. The second woman come, oh, she's been around with many dudes before, and she no longer want to keep on sleeping with guys. She wants to sleep with the next man, wants to be her husband. He telling her, oh no, you ain't no virgin no more. You ain't no young girl. So what? Why a guy gotta wait to marry you to have sex with you? Hey man, you contradicting yourself. This is not sound advice in Islam. Right? So at the end of the day, you listen to Umar Johnson and Kevin Samuels, at the end of the day, they're not Muslim and not calling to Allah. So at the end of the day, you're going to find something from them that is going to be what? Conflicting to the religion. And this is why I say that African American Muslim, we need to start calling our people to Tawheed, to the religion of Islam, and to correct moral practice. Correct moral practice. Tawheed and correct moral practice. I can't tell one woman, hey, losing your virginity to this guy you're not married to is wrong, but the next woman come along who's older than her, been in relationships before, have children, and she wants to hold sex back to the man she marries, and he said that's wrong. Islamically, his advice is not sound. That's not sound advice. It's contradictive. You understand? It's very contradictive. And this is not how a Muslim is, especially when it comes to the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright? Especially when it comes to the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for all those Muslims who listen to these individuals, at the end of the day, are you listening to somebody who has al-hidayah? At the end of the day, are we listening to somebody that has hidayah? You got me? Are we listening to somebody that has hidayah? No, you're not. Maybe in their message might have some little truth, but it also has falsehood in it. It has falsehood, right? And Kevin Samuels, his approach, me personally, how he talked to black women about certain issues, they need to hear that stuff. They do need to hear it that way, but behind closed door. Not in public where people's making money off of it. Not in public and doing it to belittle them or to show the world that these women are stupid. This is not, in Islam, this is wrong. This is wrong. Behind closed door, we can talk like that behind the closed door in private. I can say to her just like that. She need to hear it. Right? Because I've been an imam before. And I told sisters behind closed doors to come for a marital advice. Behind closed door, I tell them, hey, what you thinking is stupid. It's backwards. You're going to destroy your marriage. Some black women got to hear it like that because they rough and tough. Right? I remember I told a sister behind closed doors, she asked me, hey, man, I'm telling you, I want divorce. What for, man? You already been married like 2 or 3 times. How many divorces you want to go through? You want to go a new marriage every 2 years, get a new husband, and then divorce? I say, you want to keep on going through this stuff? Or you want to fight to save your marriage? That's what I told her behind closed door. I told her sister that, right behind closed door. You want to be like the rest of the black people in the community? Ain't married, having these kids here and there, or from the Muslim community, you can't keep our marriages. He said, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to think about what you want. I said, why are you rushing for divorce? Why you rushing for divorce? Ain't nobody perfect. Your husband ain't perfect. You ain't perfect. But some behaviors of her was wrong. I told you wrong. I told her she's wrong in her behavior. Some behavior she was doing. I said you're wrong. You're wrong. You, your husband, gotta come to the table to understanding according to how Allah say the Muslim should live and how the woman should behave and the man should behave. All right? Behind closed door, you can tell them that. In public, in front of everybody, you're ridiculing now. You're ridiculing them. You're mocking them. You're making fun of them. And most likely, they won't take the advice. So even Islamically, what is being done with Kevin Samuels, I agree with some of his approaches, but not in public for everybody to see. All right? He told one woman, and listen to me the other day, he told one woman, I said, he said, I'll put this up on YouTube, people going to see. He said, people going to see how crazy you're thinking. Right? In Islam, we're not trying to riddle that person in Islam, the Muslim woman. We're not trying to riddle her. Right? The woman, if we love our women, our sisters, our mothers, we want to fix their issues, we do these things not in the public eye. So other people could criticize them. And then for black peoples, right? When we put our stuff in public like this, right? When we put our stuff in public like this, the white man turn around, the people we claim they are oppressing us, systemic racism, hatred, white supremacy, will hate us. When they look and see these programs, they're going to turn around and say, look how these black women and black people behave. Look how the black man is treating the black woman. Look how he's doing her in public. You notice there's no show like Kevin Samuels with the white man talking to the white woman like that. There might be individuals talking about certain issues with certain peoples, but it's not the main platform. That issue, the beating down women, it's not their main platform. Or bringing them in public to beat them down. White man is not doing that to the white woman. The white man, he might do that to feminists, right? The feminists. He might target the feminists who think like that. But he's not targeting every white woman, right? But black people, we're doing that. And then we're going to make, and then, people trying to make money off of that. Or the black people listening to that, we say, yeah, man, this guy, he's making the point. Look how he told her this. Yeah, he made a lot of points. Yeah, look how he talking. And then we spread it to our friends. Then we letting people know, oh, this is the behavior to treat black women in public, or women in general in public. No, in the community, if you want to fix our problem, we don't bring it to the public like that. You don't give a particular woman advice like that in the public. Behind closed door, yeah, you can tell her that. We could tell her that. In the public, hey man, no, we can't. So at the end of the day, their message is not Islam. Even though there might be some truth in what they're saying, pertaining to social issues, might be some truth, but the methodology, most likely their methodology is not correct. Something is missing. Their approach of black women in the public, behind closed doors. Behind closed doors. Back in the days in black community, yeah, the preacher spoke like that to the woman behind the pulpit, behind closed doors. The preacher in the church in black communities, the preacher in the church behind closed doors talked about that. And if he mentioned something in public, he mentioned the incident or the situation without mentioning the people's names. Right? In Islam, same thing. Women got an issue, family issue, bad behavior. We don't go make it public. It ain't a public thing. We don't invite everybody to come and see what's going on. We take this behind closed doors and give advice. That's the best way to give advice, behind closed doors. Meaning not in public. Right? Meaning not in public. Behind closed doors. Right? Especially with women issues. If you're going to talk about Pacific woman person issue, behind closed door. If we talk about that issue in the general term, then hey, we could talk about that in public in general term without mentioning women's names or bringing that particular woman in the public so you can see how how bad behaved and irrational thinking. No, we talk about the issue in public. We don't bring the woman in public and riddle the woman and like this. We don't do that in Islam. Right? So at the end of the day, Umar Johnson, Kevin Samuels, their message, it's not Islam. It's not correct in the end of the day. In the end of the day, it's not correct. Even though they might make some points. The methodology, it's not correct. So at the end of the day, they're not calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the correct way. The correct way. And this is why the Muslims, African American Muslims, we need to really be knowledgeable people of our religion and in the forefront in calling our people to Islam. Islam. Because at the end of the day, Kevin Samuels, his videos, he's making money off of that. And at the end of the day, what he's doing to the black woman, he's making money. I'm not saying that there's no woman who's not benefiting from him, right? But come on, I seen one video, the woman was crying, man. It was just like some girl. She was dark skinned, and he's like, no mercy, no mercy. And he's telling her what she want to hear. I'm telling you, when he's talking to that woman that way, that's how the white man in the welfare system is talking to that black woman. He told this black girl she need to go get her tubes tied. He told this black girl she needs to go get her tubes tied because she keep on having kids by different men and she don't even have her GED. He said you need to get her tubes tied. That's how the white man and the welfare system, the white person, they go for welfare, the white person in family court, that white social worker, that white person in the clinic who wants to stop black people from having children. That's how they're talking. All right, that's how they're talking. The woman will start crying. And he's like, yo, I see you have bad situation in there, but you gotta hear it this way. Hey man, since when we do that to give people an advice in this harsh tone like this, and the public riddling this woman, and then when you see the women coming to you and calling your show and asking this, and they get in this treatment, the first thing that comes in my mind, me as a black man, a woman coming there. One, she's really looking for your help, but but it's well known that you have this type of way of speaking. Either or, the woman's being paid, either or Kevin Samuels paying him, either or he's paying him. They're getting hit off with something, right? They're getting hit off with something. He's paying them, or if they really calling him trying to seek advice, and he's speaking that way to all of them in this demeaning way in public, ridiculing them, showing their face. Then at the end of the day, I have to say, these black women who are going to them, they have low self-esteem. They have what? Low self-esteem. And if they have low self-esteem, and he's treating them this way, then he is not the one to help them. He's not the one to help them. He's not the one to help them. And when women have low self-esteem, and she's putting herself in that type of predicament, if you study anything about domestic violence and women who go through domestic violence and why they stay with their victims, because of low self-esteem. So you see women going to him, and he has this type of way of speaking, even though some of them do need to hear it that way, but behind closed doors. Behind closed doors. Behind closed doors. And then some women, they don't need that aggressiveness in giving advice. All right, some of them women, you need to talk to them soft. If she gets a little arrogant, don't want to hear, and you've been soft with her, then you use the aggressive way straight to the point that she need to hear it. That's reality. But behind closed doors. I end on that note. Islam is the message, the methodology, and the message. And that's what's missing from these guys' message. If you have any questions, you can always put it in the comment section or inbox me, inshallah.